nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills. Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills.
Hey guys, welcome back to RBB. And today with me is Randy from Ace Tactical. Randy, just to start out with, tell them how they can find your channel.
Yeah, guys, Ace Tactical on YouTube. Just type in ACETACTICAL or however you spell tactical. I don't know if I spelled it right, but Ace Tactical. There'll be a spade for the channel logo. That'll be me. You'll see me in most of the videos. All the videos, you'll see me actually.
So Randy and I have kind of been working on a series and kicking ideas back and forth. And we did a 1911 versus 2011, and that video can be found right there. And so this is the next in the series, and Randy threw it to me because this is on my channel, and he's like, hey, what do you want to talk about? And for me, probably in the span of my shooting experience, the gun that has always been in my lineup has been a Glock 19. And he was like, sounds good to me. So Randy, I look to you for the latest iteration of what the Glock 19 is. So why don't you show the folks what your Glock 19 is now?
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is the latest iteration as of today's standards. This was I don't know, probably 2010 to 2015. So pretty much your classic Roland special. You have a light optic. This is a Gen 3 Glock 19. You can see it just has one slide release, doesn't have the anti slide releases. This is a Gen 3 frame, Gen 3 Brownell slide and barrel, threaded barrel with a primary machine, I believe, is the compensator. I'm running X300 for my light, and then a Trijicon RMR Type 2, and 6 MOA. Not my favorite MOA size. We can talk all day about different MOA size and dots and stuff. I just have a 6 MOA on here because I got it at a good deal. It's convenient.
Thank you for that. Let me ask you about the coloring. Talk to folks about how you achieve this coloring.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see all the way around, but it is that M81 woodland camo, which is, again, that's not like a 2010s, it's a pretty early 2000s kind of camo pattern for the military. I like the M81. So I originally got this with that brown slide, and then it was just a black frame, brown slide, black compensator. I didn't really know what else to do to kind of, I don't know, make it pop out a little bit, make it a little more unique.
Oh, that's cool.
So
who did the stippling work on the frame?
Couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I got the frame like this. Agency Arms, Gen 3 Glock Magwell right here. Timney trigger is what I'm running, and then the Cogwork slide release. No idea who did the frame work. I do like it. It's pretty aggressive. It is worn a little bit than what it used to be, but it's still pretty aggressive. You can handle it.
I would say it's kind of like medium. Yeah, it's not overly so. So yeah, I could put up with that all day long.
Yeah, it's something, it'll get back into your hands if you're applying good pressure onto it, but it's not going to eat away at my stomach as I'm carrying.
Right.
So
excellent. Yeah. Now, for my part, as far as the Glock 19 goes, I think if you ask 10 different people who've owned Glock 19s, you're going to get 10 different answers on what they like about them, or why they've had it, or why it's remained so long in the lineup or in the safe. Whether it's maybe they were issued a Glock 17 in law enforcement and they wanted to carry the 19 because all the manual of arms are similar and same magazines and all of that, or just that when they were first getting into shooting, maybe the Glock 19 was recommended to them by somebody else, and it's always maybe not their favorite gun, but it's always been a reliable gun. So here I'm going to ask person number 11, what are the reasons why you started shooting a Glock 19, and why did you not just get rid of all of them?
Yeah, so I've only owned one Glock 19 throughout my course of owning firearms, and I still have it with me today. This one, you guys will see footage of me shooting it. This is the only Glock 19 I've ever owned. It's a Gen 3 Glock 19. Has a good amount of rounds through it. The reason why I think the Glock 19 is such a popular firearm is just the versatility of it. So it's a gun I carried for some time. It's not a gun I carry anymore. I don't shoot this gun very often. Today was the first time, and I don't even know how long, but a long time that I just took this out of the safe and shot it. It's been a long time since I messed around with that thing, but still, it's a sweet firearm. It's still very capable in the hands of people. That's still a very capable firearms. I think it's the most versatile as far as how much size you're giving up versus like the manageability of the recoil. It's a very just well-balanced gun overall. The reason I don't carry it anymore is I think depending on what you're doing, there are better platforms out there. The gun I carry the most often now and I shoot the most is my 19X. This nothing bad to say about the 19X. I love this gun. A lot of times I do find myself wearing clothes like this, tank top, shorts, and I do find myself carrying off body in a sling bag or something like this.
Yeah.
So I carry a larger gun if I'm rocking that.
Yep.
And that's going to be probably my 19X, just because it's the gun I have the most rounds through. It's the guns I have the most training reps on, and just the gun I feel the most comfortable with overall, 19X. But yeah, if I'm carrying on body, which I do, I'd say 50-50 is when I'm carrying off body or carrying on body. And then if it's on body, I'm carrying the X Macro.
Well, you know, it's interesting that the Glock 19, as we kind of put this episode out as, was just kind of like the Glock 19, but now it's kind of become sort of a gateway drug to go in different directions, like the 19X. What's the more modern, what's the higher model version? Is it the
45?
45
Yeah.
is another version of the Glock 19. So if you're kind of Gen Z, you're looking at like, oh, you know, my grandpa has a Glock 19, where you may have a Glock 45. And then not just in the full size or standard size realm of Glocks, but also now with the slimline Glocks, the Glock 48, which you've seen there's a video for it right there. The Glock 48 itself is another somewhat version of the Glock 19 if you go with aftermarket magazines such as the Shield Arms, and you have 15 rounds, 20 rounds in a magazine. And so, yeah, the Glock 19, you can start there, and then depending upon whether you are going to remain with like a law enforcement off-duty carry, or whether you're going to go to just, maybe you're retired and you don't need a full-size gun anymore, you're looking for something that's more slimline. Again, we're not shills for Glock. Nobody's paying us. But I will say, as I've said before in videos, Glocks always go bang. That is the essence of what they do right. And there's no arguing or no denying that there's a lot of modularity and a lot of aftermarket parts that you can mix and match and add to or take away from any of these Glock platforms and make it more personalized and make it more efficient for you.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Glocks always go bang. I have higher end firearms guns that are a lot nicer than my Glock, guns that I can shoot faster, more efficiently than my Glock. However, no matter how often I enjoy shooting those guns, I always find myself coming back to my 19X, just because my split times are really not that much slower than like with a 2011.
Right.
And really, like, my drill times are not, I'm not sacrificing that much for the benefit of, I never clean this thing. Like, the last time I cleaned this, I swapped out my recoil guide rod and spring before I cleaned it.
Wow.
Like, I had to swap out that just for maintenance purposes, but as far as cleaning goes, I just oil it and call it good. I don't remember the last time I cleaned that thing. The next time I clean it, it's not even going to be clean. I'm just going to be putting a new slide on. One thing you said that I really liked was, you mentioned like the aftermarket support. Yeah, that's another reason I'm a big fan of the Glock. Like I said, we're not shilling for Glock. I have a lot of other firearms. I have P320s. I just picked up a new M&P 2.0 that I'm going to be sending off to Monsoon Tactical to get work done on. So,
you know, just to kind of add to that, I think that if to go back kind of the old school, new school thing with the 1911, which was a previous video that we did, the 1911 versus 2011, one of the things, if you really get into handguns or into firearms in general, you really don't have a lot of patience for sending your gun off to get it worked on. And the 1911 was one of those guns that you could take apart and the gun just made sense. Now, when back in the 1980s and 90s, when the double action, single action trigger were the sort of the reigning king of like the Beretta 92F and the Smith & Wesson 6906 and the classic SIGs, the P226, P229, they were all sort of a double action trigger, single action trigger. And the problem was that they were made like Swiss watches, and the user could not take them apart. And then when the Glock came along, it was very much like the 1911, where if you could find an armorer's manual, like a paper version of it, or later on the internet, it wasn't that scary to take a Glock apart and put it back together. And so therefore, sending your gun off to have it fixed and then sent back was kind of an unnecessary thing. Some people don't mind sending their gun off and waiting. I'm a little too impatient for that.
Yeah.
So being able to work on it myself and go buy the parts, slap them in, try them in a much shorter time frame, and then decide whether it's staying on the gun or whether I'm going to discard it and go back to what I already had is very much in this short attention span type of generation that we're all in right now. And so I think that's one of the things that has appealed to me about the Glock. As you said earlier, we both have guns that are more expensive. We both have guns that maybe feel better in the hand or they have a greater trigger. But when you put it all together, the reliability, the availability of parts, I would say for me, that was one of the reasons why I remained so interested in what Glock is doing and what all of the manufacturers of aftermarket parts are doing to put onto the Glock as well. Do you have anything else to add to the Glock 19 today?
Glock 19, yeah, I think, like I said, guys, I think it's the most versatile. If I were to just, if all I could do was pick one Glock and I didn't know what mission set I was going into, I would go with the Glock 19.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I don't know if I need to conceal it on my body, if I need to do something low covert. Yeah. It has 15 rounds, but even if you need more than 15 rounds, you guys will see I don't have it on me right now. Actually, I do. We can throw in, you know, a Glock 17 magazine with an extended base plate, and now I'm having 22, 23 rounds in a Glock 19.
Right.
So if I need that higher magazine capacity, I can do that. If I need something more covert, the Glock 19, it's not overly robust where I can't conceal it on my body.
Right.
So,
Right. I agree, man. Those are all good reasons. So, Randy, Ace Tactical, appreciate your time today.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you right back here on Ranges, Backstops, and Berms.